Welcome back again in LADALIDI's tutorial. In today's video I'm gonna show you how to create this editable vector 3D steel text effect in Adobe Illustrator with brushed steel texture, so stay tuned and give a like. I've made several editable vector tutorials on this channel, and I think I'll still make a few more with different styles, but this time I won't go into much detail because in previous videos I've explained a lot about this technique of creating editable vector text effect in Illustrator. So for this video I just show briefly how I created this 3D steel text effect with a brushed metal texture. Without any further ado, let's jump into Adobe Illustrator. As usual, I have prepared a color palette for this tutorial, especially for the background color, and for the text color I only use the default gray color that is already in the swatches panel. First, we're gonna create the background, just a simple background with gradient color. Create a rectangle with the size of the artboard using the rectangle tool. After that, use the eyedropper tool to choose the color of this existing gradient. On the toolbar, activate the gradient tool to modify the gradient annotator. Drag this gradient annotator to the top of the artboard like this. Then drag the endpoint out of the artboard area to increase the gradient size. And I think it's done perfectly. And now we gonna create the text. Create the text using the type tool. Increase the size to 400 points. And replace the font with a bold font like what I have here, or you can use any font. Now open the appearance panel to give it some effects. As usual, double-click the character layer, and remove the default fill color. Back to default appearance by clicking on this top layer. The first thing we're going to do is to add a new fill layer by giving it a gradient steel color. Just open the gradient panel. Click the gradient annotator to apply the gradient. Change the angle to 90 degrees. Double-click this white color stop, and choose a gray color with 40% white. And for the other color stop, it's gray with 60% white. Next, add a color stop in the middle with a position of about 70%. And give the color 100% white. Now, we just need to make some adjustments to this gradient, like for this midpoint on the left, drag it closer to the white color stop, as well as the midpoint on the right. And we're done with this gradient. Close this gradient panel, and reopen the appearance panel. Add a transform effect to this layer by clicking Add New Effect. Distort and Transform. Transform. 99% for the vertical scale. And -2 pixels for vertical move. Click OK. Next, duplicate this layer by clicking the Duplicate Selected Item button. Make sure the fill layer above is currently selected because we will be adding texture to this fill layer. Add New Effect. Sketch. And Graphic Pen. 6 for the stroke length. 25 for light-dark balance. And right diagonal for stroke direction. Click OK. As you can see here, that we found the texture of this graphic pen have too much contrast, so we're going to reduce and blend it with the fill layer below it by changing its blending mode to lighten and lowering its opacity to 20%. And we have the perfect brushed metal texture. Now we move on to the next step by adding a new layer above the character layer. Change the color with 100% white. Add offset path effect in Add New Effect. Path. Offset path. Fill offset with 3 pixels. Click OK. Add one more effect, namely the drop shadow effect. Add New Effect. Stylize. Drop shadow. Opacity 75%. X offset 0 pixels. Y offset 19 pixels. And the blur is 10 pixels. Click OK. The next step is to add one more fill layer below it. Give this layer a gradient color by opening the gradient panel, and left-click Gradient Annotator. Change the gradient angle to 90 degrees. Double-click the color stop, which is white, and give it a gray color of 30% white. While for the other color stop, replace it with 10% white. Add 2 color stops between these existing color stops. We just need to duplicate the 2 existing color stops to create a different gradient. Press the Alt key on the keyboard for Windows, and the Option button on the Mac, then click, and drag. Set these 4 color stops with positions like this. When finished, back to the Appearance panel, and add an Offset Path effect. Path. Offset path. Fill the offset with 3 pixels. Click OK. Then again, add the transform effect. Distort and transform. Transform. Change the vertical and horizontal scale to 99.8%. For horizontal move, replace it with 0.2 pixels. And 1.5 pixels for vertical move. Finally, give 25 for copies. Click OK. And now, we have given this text a 3-dimensional effect using a transform effect. And then we move on to the last step, which is to give it a shadow effect so that the 3-dimensional effect looks more realistic. Duplicate this last fill layer with this duplicate selected item button. Select the bottom layer, and change its color to 100% black. Click the transform effect in it to modify the transform effect. Change the horizontal scale to 92%. Vertical scale to 100%. Horizontal moves 0%. And vertical moves 100%. Finally, copies to 0. Click OK. Add one more effect, namely the Gaussian blur effect. Add new effect. Blur. Gaussian blur. Fill the radius with 30 pixels. Click OK. And done. What do you think about this editable vector 3D steel text effect with brushed steel texture? Now it's time for you to create your own editable 3D steel effect text effect with brushed metal in Adobe Illustrator. But before you going to do that, click the subscribe button, like, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comment. See you in the next tutorial.